Hello, and welcome to your Waves Lab. This is going to be a short introduction to your lab this week. So let's start with the first part, which is the introduction. This is fairly simple. This is just getting familiar with the parts of the wave. And then we're going to have some follow-up questions regarding something called wave base, because that comes into play later in the lab. Note on this portion of the lab, you are looking at different types of interference. And there's two things you have to do for each type of interference. One, you have to label the type of interference with the appropriate term, and you have to sketch on these boxes right here a representation of what those waves will look like when they are combined or when they interfere. Okay, then we get to part one, and we are going to what we call the Tuna website. And when you click through, it's going to look like this. And so what I would recommend doing is as soon as you get here is zoom out a bit until you can see a good portion of the North Pacific Ocean. And so what we're concerned with are waves. So we're going to turn off water temp and turn on waves. And we're going to be comparing the wave data to the wind data and see if we can come up with any trends. All right. Now the next part is going to be another hands-on portion of the lab, and we are going to be making waves in a piece of Tupperware, bakeware, or a big storage container, something like that. A large part of this is going to be practicing making these waves so that you can do them consistently. And that's going to involve lifting up the edge and putting it back down quickly so that you see a wave that travels back and forth between the basin, the edges of the basin. Once you have that technique down, then we are going to actually time that wave and how long it takes to go out and back once and out and back again. So again, you're going to start the timer when it goes out, and then when it finally arrives after traveling out and back, out and back. And so there's a little illustration right here that kind of shows you the same thing. Okay, so we are going to do several different trials, and we are going to adjust the water depth in that basin each time. So you are going to start with just a bit of water, about a quarter way to the top of the basin. And then each time you're going to add a little more or maybe remove some. And we are going to do 3 trials per depth. Again, that's 3 times that you're going to measure that out and back, out and back. And then you're going to take an average. And from this information, we are going to figure out the speed of the wave. Now, note that this total distance traveled, you are going to calculate this based on the length of your basin. And so if it goes out and back, you are going to multiply the length of your basin by 4 to get that total distance. And then you're going to calculate your speed. Okay, what fun is data if we can't put it on a graph, right? So you are going to graph that data on this grid, and you're going to look to see if there is a relationship between the depth of the water and the speed of the wave. This should say water depth right here. Okay, and then we have some follow-up questions. Here it would be a good idea to review the definitions of wave base, the definition of a shallow water wave and a deep water wave before diving into these questions. Okay, and then at the end, I have a question asking for some feedback on the instructions, if something was unclear, or if you just have any kind of lingering questions that are keeping you up at night about waves. Okay, if you have any questions or you're having trouble, be sure to reach out to me and I will help you the best I can. Good luck and surf's up.